Introducing Deceit 2 Legacy Mode. Alright, let me explain. Deceit 2 Legacy Mode is a whole new game mode for Deceit 2, recreating the Deceit 1 that we know from its legacy days, and carrying it over with the cast of characters from Deceit 2 that we all know and love, or don't love, I don't know. This game mode will contain gameplay and the original map from Deceit 1 Legacy, but inside of Deceit 2. So let's get further in depth. In this game mode, your goal as Innocent is generally the same, but the ways for getting to this goal of either escaping or killing the infected is very different. For starters, there will be no roles apart from human, so no more guardian, warden, or anything else, just human. Now obtaining items will be different too. You'll find switches around the asylum with images of an item on them. That image of the item represents what your reward will be for completing the task associated with that switch. The tasks are either A, shooting 3 targets, or B, standing in a radius around a machine next to the switch until you are given your item. The items you can obtain from tasks consist of the camera, the torch, the light trap, the antidote, and the tracker. Now mind you, this isn't the only items in the game, but we'll come back to that later. So let's run down what the items are. The camera, pretty standard is what it does. You flash the infected, do light damage. There you go. Torch is a flashlight, you shine at the infected, you do light damage as well. Now mind you, light damage is separate from normal damage that you would with a gun, or knuckle duster. And the light trap is pretty self-explanatory too. You place this trap, and when the infected walks through it, it will flash a light, doing light damage. Go figure. The antidote can be used to save people that are bleeding out. The way a person begins to bleed out is if they are grabbed by the infected during the blackout, or another way that we'll discuss later on. Now the tracker is very similar to how it is in Deceit 2 normal mode. You place the tracker on a player, and you can see their outline through walls for the duration of the tracker. So it's a good way to clear people during the blackout phase. But mind you, when you place a tracker now, everyone sees their outline, not just you. Now there isn't just items you get from tasks. There's other items that you must have another player assist you to be able to grab. The way that the player assists you is by standing on a pad that will lift open the item's container and make it available to be grabbed. There are 3 of these items in the game, consisting of the shotgun, the scanner, and the lethal injection. Now let's begin with the shotgun. The shotgun is found on the first floor and is pretty self-explanatory to be honest, but it isn't exclusive to teamwork to obtain it. You can obtain it on the 3rd floor from a task. Next is the scanner. The scanner found on the 2nd floor and can be used to scan a player and see the team they're on. So if they're infected, it'll tell you that they're infected, and if they're innocent, it'll tell you that they're innocent. Only one use though. Now last, but certainly not least, there is the lethal injection. The lethal injection is found on the 3rd floor and is a needle that you can just stick into another player in their human form and instantly bring them to bleed out. So if they aren't rescued by an antidote, then they're banished. Now let's discuss one of the biggest gameplay differences, the blackout. The in-between is replaced by a time where the lights go out and you need to retrieve fuses to get the power back on. These fuses will be located throughout the map and will need to be brought to fuse boxes. Once you have delivered the appropriate amount of fuses to the fuse boxes, then the doors to the next floor will begin to open. Once the next floor is open, the floor that you were on before will begin to fill with toxic gas and you'll have a limited amount of time to get to the next floor before dying. But if you fail to deliver the fuses to open up the next floor within reasonable time, the infected will become enraged and will not be blood to transform for the duration of that blackout. And even if you take longer than that, you will become trapped on that floor and the infected will immediately win. And another huge difference from the in-between is that you will be able to see all the players and their identities, unlike where everyone is anonymous in the in-between. Now let's discuss the floors a little bit. There'll be 3 floors in every game, and each floor will have a limited amount of blood bags, tasks, ammos, and armor. But every new floor you go to will have even less than the floor before had in terms of these resources. So as the game goes on, resources will become more and more limited. So save them. And now that you know about all of the floors, items, and the blackout phase, let's talk about how to win. So to win as Innocent, it's a bit more complicated than Deceit 2. For starters, when you eliminate all the infected in the game, it won't immediately end. You'll be given a choice between voting for the escape hatch and continuing on with the game until you can escape through the door on the 3rd floor. But there is a big risk with the escape hatch. If you all vote for escape hatch and you aren't all innocent, then the infected team will win. So you need to make sure that if you're voting for the escape hatch, there is only innocents alive. But there is no such risk with escaping through the escape door, apart from the fact that the infected can transform and try to prevent you all from escaping, like Deceit 2. Those are the basics with escaping and really all it is. It's a bit more complicated once you're actually there, but let's move on to the infected side. Unlike Deceit 2, you aren't able to transform all the time, anytime, during the in-between, or as it is known as in Legacy mode, the blackout. But instead, to transform, you must drink blood. You will need to drink 3 bags of blood to transform, and whenever you get a kill, your blood is reset back to 0, and you're no longer transformed. But if you get downed and don't get revived, you will also lose 1 bag of blood worth of progression to transforming. You'll be able to drink blood during the blackout as well, but it will only give you half the value it would during the time when lights are on. And while infected, don't forget to destroy tasks so that innocents can't obtain valuable items, so you give yourself an even bigger advantage to win. Now with all of this said, that's really the basics you'll need to know to start getting into Legacy mode. If you have any questions, you can ask and I'll try my hardest to answer. You can simply ask me in the comments down below, or reach out to me via Discord, but please, give this a try. It is a great mode and has been great fun. I haven't even played Deceit 2 normally since it came out. But enough yap. Get in there and start deceiving.